So, Lance took Lava Zip Bug.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
So, we're going to go to this Zip Bug here and show what Lance did. Las Vegas Lance. This guy right here, Pyroclast the Inferno. Las Vegas Lance, no, Lava had asked me to make a lava-based bug, and I did. And then I told him over text. I think it was on Twitter. And then, like, some days went by, and I priced it and put it out there, and then some days went by, and Las Vegas Lance picked it up. So apparently Las Vegas Lance was a premium viewer and saw you scrolling by this one right here.
That I bought it live in the room that night. I bought the one I loved that night, and Lance was right behind me plucking things before I could grab them.
So I didn't even know that was showing up there. So I apologize. I'm going to need to make another one for Lava, and it's gotta be cool too. So I don't want it to look anything.
Oh,
like this.
You know what? An origami like that might be epic.
I tried that. The origami ones don't look that good with this. It screws it up. So
with the extra 3D, I think would make that one pop. Something similar.
It's
not that one, but something similar.
We'll have to see what I can do. Well, let me show you what it will do to it actually, because I have one that's very similar. Come on.
With 47,600 bugs, how do you know where this stuff is?
It's
there.
That guy. Did I do these? No, not yet. Okay, so I got to go back. I know what I did nearby it. I think it's up here. It is this one. So this guy had smoke all around him, and then when I origamified it, it turned this into like weird stuff, which you would think would look good for the fire, but it didn't. So if it doesn't look good, I'm not doing it.
No, of course not. You want it to be epic, especially when someone makes a request. You want it to be perfect.
That's actually what Family Man said about my Zip Bugs. He said on the Hug XYZ. So
yes.
So this episode here is talking about like creating stuff in the crypto world.
Well, not even the crypto world, but just creating something. What it is that drives you, what your passion is. For you, it's Zip Bugs, and it has been for a very long time. And for me, it's been an evolution. And I'll get into my stuff as we go along, but it started as one thing, changed to another. I shouldn't even use
That's
change.
Called being undecided.
No, and that's why I hated using the word change. It kind of folded, and I went, oh, that's not quite what I was looking for. And then I redesigned it. No, that's still not quite what I was looking for. And I finally got what I was looking for, and I've got things released now. I have weeks and weeks and weeks worth of letters that are published for those who like to read, and the podcast is right around the corner. I've got the website 95% built. Just like Faz's Zip Bugs is about 90% built. So the Zip Bugs website will be coming out soon too. I've been burning the midnight oil trying to get this stuff done.
Am I muted? No, I'm not muted. Okay.
Now you're muted. Well, you either that or you lost sound because you don't look like you're muted. Did you bang your microphone? You're still not talking. Nope, nothing. Come on, Faz, for fark's sake. There it goes. Wait, you had it.
Wait, what?
Yeah. There you go.
You can hear me now?
Now I can hear you.
I think you could have heard me earlier, too. I think you're lying.
No, you can go back and watch later.
Say something. Maybe Nick can tell me if he heard me earlier. Anyway, so I've been on this kick. I'm making origami versions of my older bugs, which actually look really good. This one. But this one actually doesn't look very origami. But anyway, we wanted to talk about how we are creating. Oh, Shannon Rep didn't hear me, so I guess Titan was right. We want to talk about what we've been doing, what we've been creating, and we'd like to encourage other people to create too. So at least we can go through the process. So I had mentioned a few weeks ago, a month or two ago, that I was making a Zip Bugs game, that I wanted to make a Zip Bugs card game. And so I went and actually decided to use Unity and downloaded a card game template from Unity, and where I could just load in my pictures and then start messing with the actions of those. Ran into some issues with that because things were a little bit hard to put into place. So I'm like, okay, let's go simpler. Let's just make like a Flappy Bird game, which I did as well. In fact, let's see if I'm sharing this window. Let's say games.zipbugs.com, can't I? Yep, there we go. So I made this Flappy Bird game. Whoa, there we go. Which is fine. It's I call this one a proof of concept, and I got my ass kicked. So that I could see what it was like to develop a simple game. And for the large part, it was pretty easy to make, and I got to get an idea of the tools that were out there. And Flappy Bird's supposed to be hard. So, and then I realized, well, what am I trying to do here? I want to get the Zip Bugs out there and known. And a game is one thing that you can do, but it requires a much bigger time investment than I wanted to do. I wanted to get it going and known sooner rather than later. It's going to take me about several months to do the card game. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to focus on my comic stuff. I want to make some comics for my Zip Bugs. And had you been a premium member, you'd see what some of those comics already look like, because I've been building a team of people to help me make these comics happen.
Before you get into the team and how you built that out and everything else, we've talked about it like all scattered around, but this started years ago, right? And we don't have to get into specifics, so you get uncomfortable or anything, but you created a company years ago, right? Mm-hmm. And that company was geared towards doing stuff like this because you knew this is what you wanted to do. Mm-hmm. And it started there. And then it was exploring with tools. And you used some tools for a while and other ones replaced them. I'm going to try. I'm not going to promise. I'm going to try and do an addendum because I found two really cool things in the AI world for what you're kind of doing. I wanted to get a prototype for you to look at before I shared it, but I will do a special addendum cast. But these two, I'm sorry, I know I'm babbling a little bit, but I want to set the context. There's a lot that goes in before you just throw a game out there, right? You've got to get yourself organized, if you want to be a sole proprietor, you can, or you can create a business, whether it's an S Corp or an LLC. You've got to get all your ducks in a row with that. You've got to create websites. You've got to figure out a game plan on kind of what direction you want to go. And then you have to start putting it together, and it doesn't always go together like you want. And so the latest evolution of Faz's tools, he can run through what those are and how we bumped into them and all that kind of fun stuff. But this is why it takes a while to build things.
Trial and error. That's one
right. And Faz was even surprised, right? So this not only is for like Zip Bugs or Unleash Reality, this is even for what you're watching right now, right? So Faz Radio, it's an evolution, and I try and do it the best I possibly can, right? So it takes me at least an hour to set up this show, to get all the links created, to get the thumbnail made, to get the format put out, to get the wording right, and get all that formatted and ready to go live. And then after the show, I have to take and download the audio and get that all remixed and sounding fantastic, and then uploaded to the podcast where people can just listen by audio. We have one of those. Links are in the description. And so there's an hour almost on that. Then I have to wait till tomorrow when the video processes at YouTube, and then I have to create shorts. And yes, I have help with AI, but it's still, I have to curate every single one, see which one's good. I have to move faces. I have to fix text because the text isn't perfect all the time. And to get, a week's worth of shorts, it takes me 2 hours maybe to do that. So I have 4 hours a week just invested in Faz Radio. That doesn't include the CFA stuff. That doesn't include building his websites. That doesn't include building my own stuff. Doesn't include my wife's podcast, which we do on Saturdays for her paranormal stuff. And the same stuff I do for Faz Radio, I do for her podcast. So when I was, laughing last week that I work 7 days a week, that's why I literally work 7 days a week with a day job plus all these side gigs. So it's building, it's doing. And I know Mr. Zorro, he's been poking me for months. I started my final iteration of mine in October of last year, and he hung with me for a while and he stopped poking me, but it's here and it's just going a lot slower than I thought.
Yeah. It does take a while to build this stuff. And this is honestly, I'm going to talk about a topic you don't like to talk about. What I like to highlight when we're talking about Gala Games not delivering. It's a lot of work to get a lot of people together and get something made. Now, I think that it's quite okay to give Gala Games a hard time over what they promised. And their work, I think, should be at least applauded. But the problem is that pales in comparison to the amount of hype and promises that they layer on top of that. And I don't have one bit of worry if I don't deliver something, because right now I haven't taken money from anybody for future projects. I might be selling Zip Bugs, but that's there's no guarantee that you'll get anything with those bugs. So I am putting the money toward the Zip Bugs, from the Zip Bugs to these cartoons, but I'm not promising that. Other companies like Gala Games tend to promise you buy a $21,000 cemetery, and then they'll say, hey, you get the right to place this in a game. And then the game takes 7 years to be delivered. And so it's like people are getting really pissed off in the meantime. That's if it gets delivered at all. So I think there's a big difference between taking money beforehand and taking money afterward. In fact, one is a security and one is not, right?
Well, yeah. And, I do think we've been talking about it for a long time now on here. Build something, and then if people like it, they'll buy stuff to support it, whether it's a coffee mug, whether it's a T-shirt, whether it's a Game Pass, or the actual game that you create, or a subscription, or anything. But you've got to make it worth what they're paying for. That's all you have to do, is make it worth it, and you have a successful business. And
oh, go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I'll give you an example later. And I put this into my letters. I wrote this into my letters. And it's a true story that I want to tell about making a business out of literally anything. And this is kind of what I'm teaching and what I'm going through with my stuff. But you have your bugs up. Let's do that. And we'll get around to my story in a little bit.
Well, actually, I'll add something on that, then I'll start. I was talking to a high school student recently, and she was like, how can you make money off of this stuff, off of these bugs? These are cartoons and stuff. And I'm like, well, my answer was actually, you can make money off of any body of work as long as you keep it up, keep track, and realize that you have something that you could sell, and start hitting all the appropriate areas. You start hitting marketing and working with other people to put it out there. If you assemble a body of work, that body of work has value. Even if you don't know how to market it or sell it, it still has value. So with the bugs, I've just been developing a body of work over a period of time. I wanted to show how they've evolved a little bit. Now, these started out as charcoal drawings. And this one in particular was a charcoal drawing of a little helmet with horns that I made for Bitbender back in the day. In fact, these 5 owners, I gave this one and this one away in a podcast a couple of years ago to Bitbender and people who wanted it sent to them. But you can tell right here that this is a charcoal drawing that I've used an AI tool to put a style on. So you can see the original drawing, still looks pretty cool. Looks cooler than just the charcoal drawing itself. This one's a little bit more removed from the charcoal drawing. But these tools have evolved. And so what I wanted to do
wait a minute, was that Starry AI or was that Night Cafe?
This is Night Cafe. Night Cafe will apply a style. Now, actually, this one has another layer on there. I don't think you can see it. There's these horizontal lines or diagonal lines that's pretty light, which is another layer that I put on there that wasn't Night Cafe. But the whole point is, I've been making new bugs by pointing these newer AIs toward my old bug. So literally, I pointed one to this picture right here. Actually, I think I pointed it to the original drawing, and it came up with this, which is very similar. Actually, it didn't come up. It came up with another thing. This is my origami version of it. I don't have everything queued up, but you can see that it's actually very similar to the original one. It's quite a bit adapted, but it's similar. This is an origami version of the free bug that I gave out to the Bodhi owners when there's Bodhi.
Oh yeah, that's right.
So there's another one of these that this is a modification of. But you can see what AI actually does to these pictures. It will take them, it will keep the spirit of what you load into there, and it'll change it according to the prompt you have. I'm not somebody who really likes to just generate pictures completely from a prompt, mostly because you might not have any copyright over what's generated, because the courts currently think that it's AI doing all the work. I like to give it enough of my own original drawing to where I can claim that part of it, at least, is my own, so that I can get some sort of copyright over it. That's worth mentioning if you're going to use AI. If you generate something completely from a prompt, well, in one sense it's yours, but in another sense it's not protected.
Right.
The more you modify it or train it with your own data first, the more likely you can claim that you're using AI as a tool and not as just an image generator for you.
And that points to, we talked about before with AI creating a Bible, so to speak, for your project.
We'll get to that for stories. If you're going to be writing stories with AI, you don't want AI to just generate the stories for you either. You want to give it something to go on. Like I had mentioned, like a TV series will have a Bible as to what all the characters are and stuff, and then they'll hire screenwriters to actually script the episodes, and they create scripts for the episodes. And then, of course, you can look at the Bible and make sure that all the characters are true to the Bible. You can do that with ChatGPT. Give it a whole bunch of information about these characters you want, and then say, write a story about these characters encountering this problem. And then, so you're kind of seeding it or training it with your own stuff. And of course, the more you mess with that story, the more that you can claim that it's yours if there's ever a problem with copyright. And I want to make it very apparent that copyright is kind of at the center of a lot of AI stuff right now. They haven't updated the laws yet. So at the moment, until the laws are updated, anything you generate from a prompt is not protected. Somebody could copy it and sell it, and you couldn't do anything about it. Anyway, yeah. So these are some of the things. These bugs I've actually been using as kind of like training prototypes for doing cartoon books and cartoon comics and stuff like that. So that's my goal here is comics, comic books, and video games. So what do you got? Beat that?
So
you gonna share your screen?
I will in a moment. I want to tell the story because it goes right into the crux of kind of what I'm doing. And I recently put out a letter on my platform about this, and it doesn't go into the detail level that a story can, but as an example. So I was talking with someone recently, and I was talking about how, hey, you can make a business out of anything. And she says to me, well, no, you can't make money at everything. I said, you can. I said, you just have to think a little differently. I said, all right, so what is it that you love more than anything? You got to love what you're going to make into a business. What is it that you love? Well, she's a brand new grandma, And so I said, oh, okay, piece of cake. And she's like, you can make money with that. I said, I can make you tons of money with that. Here's the problem. People don't think, they think linear and straight ahead instead of trying to figure out how to take that to another level, right? So I said, okay. I said, there's a ton of brand new grandmas out there, and a lot of them, you know, they have the motherly instinct, but being a grandma is something completely different. So you can create a brand called Grandma Jen, and Grandma Jen has a website, has a podcast, and holds events. And with that, with all those three things, you can create a recipe book of kid favorites based on age from 2 to 5. Here's some favorite recipes that almost every kid will do. You have subscriptions for that. You have subscriptions for other content such as day trips. What are some cool day trips? You take your grandchild on a trip, you film it, you record it, and that could be premium content for your subscribers. If you charge $5 a month for a premium membership, there will be new grandmas who will subscribe to that to see a day out in the adventures that you do to get ideas for their own grandkids. And she also loves real estate, right? And I said, okay, so you build this brand around Grandma Jen. You have your recipes, you have your, if you're babysitting for a day because the parents need a break, right? Your kids need a break and drop off the grandkids. Here's 10 ideas on what to do with grandkids on that day. And you collect this mailing list. You get the mailing list for your letter that goes out to new grandmas every week. You have a huge database of grandmas, right? And what happens when people become a grandma? Their kids have been out of the house for a while and they may want to be downsizing their giant house that they raised their kids in to a smaller version, perhaps whether it's in another state or even locally, but generally a lot of them want to downsize. So you love real estate, you want to maybe do real estate on the part-time as well. You have a giant mailing list of people who generally have money by the time they're grandparents and want to downsize. You have the perfect prospect list for real estate. And her jaw is hanging open at this point. So you can literally take anything and spin it into a business when you start thinking outside the straight lines of I need to have a product to sell for profit. You can have products, you can have the greatest grandma shirts and all that stuff and make a couple of bucks, but it's the other stuff and how you fold it then into the real estate and you fold it into the other things that you like. You've got to be thinking along those lines. And so that's really what I'm focused on. And I'll pull up what I've got. Let me pull up my stuff here. So the point being is that even just being a grandma, you can make money. Okay. If you think about it properly, and you've got to take it to that next level. Here we go. Okie dokie, chokey bokey. And we're on. So here is what I've built so far. And what I do is I created a newsletter called The Authentic Self. All right. And it's to take you to that level and to start getting you thinking outside that box. And every Saturday at 10:21 a.m. on the dot, a new letter comes out. And I've been doing these for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks. All the letters are located over here under the letters. There's almost 20 letters now, so I've been writing these for almost 20 weeks. And they discover a variety of things: mastering independence, thinking it, the first step to escaping the wage slave cage, and building a life of purpose is to figure out what the hell you actually want to do, right? So that folds into the Grandma Jen story. And recognizing your emotions, being able to understand how emotions play into creating your business from the you side and from other people's sides. And I go deep into all these. Being a badass communicator, identifying social styles when you're selling, having the emotional intelligence, and all these dovetail into each other. And I'm hoping in the next few weeks I can get the Rethink Theory podcast started. And that will be very, 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 very similar. It's going to take those letters and expand on them and also talk about some other topics. And I want to do shorts on some of the things like the Grandma Jen story and everything else. That's where I'm going with this. So,
We get one life,
can you hear that?
one opportunity to make a difference. A single set of moments that define who we will become and what we will believe.
Are you willing to open your mind? Can you rethink and relearn what society has programmed you to become?
So it's relearning and rethinking what you've been taught about. You pick a job, you go work that job, and you hate it, and you just do it because you need to make a paycheck. Where I want to take you outside of that and teach you how to think a little bit differently, just like Grandma Jen, and do what you love doing. That's where I want to take this. And it's been a long road because I started off with like consulting and everything else. I'm like, no, it's not quite what I want to do. That's going to come off the wrong way. And so I've morphed it into exactly finally what I want it to be, and it's getting there. It's really getting there. I've got quite a nice little mailing list going already, and I'm hoping to continue to grow it. I got a new Twitter up. It takes a lot. I have my story here is I have about $350 a month worth of subscriptions, right? To AI, to Canva, to marketing agencies, to mailing list creators, to a separate StreamYard than we do FazRadio on, and all kinds of things, all these tools. And you need to know what tools you need to be using in order to get what you want. The Shorts creator, right? That's a monthly expense. So I'm putting a lot into this as well on my side with very little coming in right now, but I'm hoping that I can build this into something a lot bigger and a lot better as time goes on. Are you muted again, or did you lose your mic? You're shushed? Why are you shushed?
I was muted.
Oh.
No, you can keep going.
No, so that's what I'm building. And I created my company 2 years ago just for this purpose. And I've had to file trade names and all the other stuff to keep up on it. I keep my business logs in order. You got to have business logs in case anything ever gets called into question. I'm going to have to create more companies as more equipment comes in. And I'm hoping my goal is by next year to be able to have a studio outside of the spare room in the house here. So I've got some additions. I got a nice camera. I've got a better microphone. I've got studio lights hanging above me now. So as I slowly bring in revenue, I'm slowly adding to what I do. Same as Faz. You don't need the big setup right away. You just need to gradually improve. I started FazRadio with a webcam, and then I graduated to an iPhone, and then I graduated to a camera. And we started out with you know decent but not the greatest mics. And then there was lighting issues, so I took care of the lighting issues. And you've got to take your time and get where you want to be. And I don't sell anything at this point either. It's taking your time and doing it on your terms, as Faz said. And you've got to just put something out. I've put my writing out. The podcast will be out. Faz put his game out. He's put his Zip Bugs out. He's working on a card game. He's working on some comic strips. And there's tangible things that he is doing, and there's tangible things that I am doing. And that's what we need to celebrate in this space going forward. No more promises, no more talk. If you want to do something, do it. I mentioned to Faz and Premium, and then I'll shut up and let you talk, Faz. I've hogged up enough here. I was telling Faz in the Premium channel before the show, several people over the last couple of weeks, we've been talking a lot about this. There have been a handful of people who have popped into my DMs. Hey, who do you use for like creating logos? Hey, what are some of the tools that you're using? for developing your stuff. So other people are getting interested. Other people are starting to take action. And these are people that you would never imagine, just regular community members that you see all the time. But they're starting to do things. They're starting to see that if you put your mind to it, if you put the effort in, good things happen. We have our partners over, well, not partners, but our buddies over at GG Collective who have shown tangible results. We have our next contestant on building by the minute, which is Mr. Zorro. And Mr. Zorro is creating, let me go ahead and share this.
A picture of Zorro?
It's a picture of Zorro, right? So Zorro is creating the warrior meme coin. He's Mr. Z, the fearless meme warrior, and he's creating heroes.
Bringing meme justice.
Right. Meme defender and bringing meme justice.
Those are kind of cool. Where'd you get how did you make those, Zorro?
This is cool stuff, right?
I like the one on the right. That one's cool.
I know. This is what we're talking about. People are doing things. Take what you do, take what you dream and think and have a passion for, and just do something with it. We're here to help you. All of us are here to help you because that's what this community is about. Some of the greatest people in the world we've met through this ecosystem, from CFA and Gala and everything else. It's absolutely fantastic. I like this guy right here with the glasses. Where's my there it goes. It gets bigger. Third guy over. He's my favorite there. I like that one. So Zorro is building slow but sure. He's going to drop that coin, and I'm gonna end up dropping a G into that one too. You watch, because there's a lot of people I believe in this one, but I absolutely believe in Mr. Zorro.
Well,
that guy, he is all about doing. And there's pictures. We should probably pull up some of those pictures of him and Lava and everybody else at those events down in Florida. I think Crypto View was down there with him too.
So haven't you been given permission to share some other things from people today?
Have I?
I don't know. Maybe not. I might have gotten it wrong. So no need. I thought I had asked somebody if we could share something about what they're doing.
Oh, yes, you did, but it's the same stuff. So we talked.
So nothing has changed there.
No, we talked with Forged in Crypto, and he's still making progress. In the link, the show description, is the new site they're building for his node network that we've talked about here several times. And premium members are going to have a special deal when those nodes are ready. They were expected to be ready when he was on the show last time. He said June-ish. Well, we're June-ish, and we asked for an update, and he said still plugging along, almost there. So it's a very, very good thing.
Well, he actually said June 14th. If I'm going to hold him to his word. However, to be fair, the GG Collective token sale, I think, has ended and is restarting today for something else on Seedstarter.
I don't know about the restarting thing, but I do know that initial funding had closed a couple days ago. We reminded you guys last week to get your tokens bought. I waited till the last minute, of course. I had to move some money from Gemini because this is a securities investment, so you need cash. They don't take tokens. So they're not to the point where they can take tokens yet. So I had to get some actual cash reorganized and moved to my bank to be able to transfer over and get my GG Collective investment taken care of. But I did that, and I am extraordinarily happy. I know they're going to produce epic things. There's no doubt in my mind.
All right, I'm trying to figure out how I can share my screen here. Oh yeah, I'll do that. So we also have these guys. This person here, Seedstarter, myseedstarter.com. That's Jesse Hines, and I just clicked on investment opportunity. It looks like he has there's a new project here.
Oh, look at that! There is.
So maybe I got that confused. The GG Collective one ended, and this new one started.
Yes.
It looks like they have 109 days left. Let's click on that.
They're looking for how much are they looking for?
So crypt pass, decentralized self custody something, but I don't know if there needs to be something written on here. Oh, here we go.
Blockchain security, shaping the future of password management.
Powers user.
Pass.
So is this like LastPass, but a Web3 version?
That's what I'm thinking. I'm learning about this as you are. I didn't even know this was up here.
Yeah, I knew something was dropping over there today. So I want to show other people building. And this is, we talked about me, we talked about Titan, talked about Forged in Crypto and GD Collective, and this is what Jesse Hines has been doing. So there's a lot of people building stuff, and as time goes on, this stuff is just going to snowball after a while. And I can tell you that all these different people that we're talking about, we're all talking amongst each other, seeing how we can work together as well. That's how you build things, build better things. So
Jesse had done some really good spaces. I listened to him, his Twitter spaces when he was talking about Seed Starter. And when I traveled down to our other facility, it's like a 3-hour drive each way. He had a just awesome Twitter spaces. He had on like 5 different people. That's where I was telling you about that veggie burger chain. Remember?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that was back over the winter. I want to say around the holidays. I think I remember a security guy talking on that cast. So we'll have to look that up and maybe see if we can get that into the show notes if it's still on Spaces. But I'm wondering if that's the same guy that was on that Spaces that Jesse did on that. This is something that's absolutely needed. If there's a special password thing where you can store crypto stuff that's encrypted well like that, the self-custody stuff on the blockchain.
I might need to move from 1Password to this because I was using LastPass until LastPass got compromised.
Right.
So then I moved to 1Password after I changed a number of my passwords. And CryptPass, this is interesting.
Yeah, that's definitely a good one to look at.
So yeah, take a look at MindStarter.com.
I wonder. Wait, go back up. There's a team there. Let me see if I recognize any of those names.
Because you know all of them. Yeah, of course.
No, from the Spaces, goofball, when I was listening to it.
I know this name sounds familiar. David Garrity. Like I've heard of that before.
I can't remember if I remember any of those names or not. But I know we have who we talked to. We've interviewed them, the Radix people, right? Simon. You remember Simon?
That's from Audigy or something.
Audacity, yeah.
Audacity.
Yeah, so they're still chugging right along as well. We had them on the show. I think we had him on twice, if I'm remembering right.
We might have.
And they're still building. I still have my nodes, and I still get my Radix. So they're still plugging away. Simon's a hell of a good guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah, I kind of forgot about them for a while. I knew that. I have no idea. I haven't checked that wallet since it started. So I don't know if I'm getting Radix. I thought there was some sort of like fee that those Audacity nodes had.
Yep.
If you're going to run them.
Yeah, it's on the AVAX chain, and you have a monthly node fee, and you collect your Radix. It's very reasonable. They reduced the fees because they ran into a whole bunch of speed bumps, and so to take care of the community, they lowered the node fees because it was going to take a lot longer than they thought it would. I'm at their Discord now. It's still pumping right along, so everything's looking okay there. To turn around on autonomy, right? Last week we did a show on that. That node technology is brand new. I'm struggling. I'm seeing the nodes do some work, but for some reason I can't connect properly to get registered onto the network. So they're running through some speed bumps over there. Um,
Well, what's the website? Is this one here?
yes,
All right. This is the one that Bucks is building, right?
that's the one Bucks is building. Yes, Bucks is the CEO over there. It's working. I can see it. I'm running Ubuntu and I can see it working. I can see it doing things, but for some reason it's having trouble registering me. Bucks did me a favor and bumped my help request in the support channel up. So hopefully I'll hear something very soon.
There's no
So
pictures.
so
We'd like to
there's
see pictures. It's my 2 cents. Go ahead.
There's two types of node software you can get, and I think the one, of course, the one I'm using, I think is the one they're having difficulty with. So I might switch this weekend to the other software to see if I can get somewhere with that. We still have a handful of node codes for Wave 2, which is opening right now there. So if you haven't gotten
autonomy
your
node code, that's correct.
right, your autonomy node code, if you haven't gotten that, hit up me or Faz and we can by DM we can get you a code. I just gave another one out this afternoon. I only have like 4 or 5 left out of the ones we split.
I've
So
only
those
given
went
out
quick.
about 4 or 5 actually.
Well, no, I gave out a ton. So I got a DM from Atomic, and Atomic works over there. It's a former Gala associate as well. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. Looks like 15 of the node codes that we've given out this week have been activated. Yeah, I told you I gave out a lot.
No, I see
And
you
those
got,
have been.
you got a bit louder there. Did you turn up your volume or something?
No, I did not. I leaned a little closer in, yes, but so that was fantastic. Thank you guys for spinning up those nodes and using those codes. It doesn't do anything for us, of course. It's not like we get something for it, but it really means a lot to autonomy, and it means a lot to us that you guys are participating. We want to participate in everything that we possibly can in this space with the good people that are actually doing stuff.
So this right here, it's this kind of interesting. Autonomy is able to combine the spare capacity of connected devices, anything from old consumer PCs on desks to small devices like Raspberry Pis, to create a new form of globally accessible infrastructure that can be utilized by anyone. This concept I first heard of with Holochain. And Holochain's been developing, I think, since about 2018. And I've seen a lot more companies kind of glomming on to this idea. Autonomy is another one. Gala Games was one. What's interesting, though, is how quickly people move from their own machines to renting a machine on AWS or something, a server somewhere, and paying for hosting, which makes things less centralized. This is kind of interesting because you're doing it because you're going to get more rewards, but the rewards seem based upon CPU power and not decentralization or something that would make the network more safe. And I don't know if autonomy does this, but a lot of these services are just rewarding you for CPU power, which that means the big guys are going to start throwing CPU power at people so that they can get these rewards, or so that they could take over this kind of stuff. If you're using Amazon to run your node on, or your whatever on, you're going to be paying them for hosting, but it doesn't make the network more secure.
Yeah, this is autonomy is primarily about storage, and that's going to be huge. And if you surf crypto Twitter, you'll see the same thing. Storage is in high demand, especially on the decentralized side. They are trying to stand this up just like Holochain, like you said, to where everything is going to be stored encrypted on all of these nodes, and that's the goal of this, so that they don't have to rely on things like AWS. And they've purposely capped each node at like 5 gigabytes of storage and a tiny bit of CPU power so that it can scale. You can run 20, 50, 70 nodes at a time if you have the space on your computer and enough RAM in your system. But they made it so it's scalable like that per person. So if it's using too much storage, too much bandwidth, too much memory, you can scale it down and drop off some of those nodes that you have. If you change machines, you can spin up more. If you up your internet speed, you can host more. So it gives that flexibility that a lot of places are missing as well. Whereas like you have a single node, like the holochain node, right? You have that little box. It's a physical hard box. You only have so much storage on there. You only have so much CPU power. You can only hit your internet pipe so hard with that. It's a little more limiting. So I like what they're doing as far as being able to split up that workload and let you control what you're running on that machine. I think that's awesome.
All right. We have any other builders, creators to talk about, sir?
Not this week. We have a ton, and there'll be some more in the upcoming weeks that we'll talk about. I have some I haven't even told you about that I've been talking with people on. I've been going like crazy. Quite literally. I had to shush up Faz. We were talking on the phone yesterday. I said I got to go to bed, and I ended up being up for an hour. I thought I was only going to be up for 10 minutes. But we're going like crazy. This weekend, my poor liver is going to suffer. We're hosting tomorrow. My wife's birthday was last week, and my son's birthday is tomorrow. So we're doing like a combined gathering. We don't do parties anymore. They're old. So we just say, hey, yeah, all of us are old. After 3:00, come over. We're going to have booze. We're going to have food. If you want to pop in, pop out, whatever you want to do, come say happy birthday to Caden and April. And so I've got that. And then for Sunday, for Father's Day, we're going to go have lunch at a winery. So by Monday, my liver is going to be screaming for a break, I'm sure.
All right.
And then between all that, I've got to get the rest of the work done that I got to get done. So it's a very full weekend coming up.
All right. Do we have any questions from the peanut gallery?
That's not very nice. We don't have a peanut gallery. We have awesome people who listen to two idiots with a microphone blather every Friday night. So happy 3 years, by the way. I think we're over 3 years officially now.
Wow. Yeah, I think it was May of 2021 we started.
Yeah. So we're still going strong. We still have plans for this, believe it or not, to change and do different shows and everything else. But since we've started building these projects on our own, our time is limited. Poor Faz has been very courteous to me in having patience while I build out these 3 sites for him.
Yeah, I'm very patient for all this free work that he's doing. So.
Yeah, because it takes time. I don't want it to look like ass, and I have to bounce between like 5 different websites, building all those, including my own and all the other stuff I have to get done, like we talked about a little bit earlier. So that plus a full-time job, plus being a dad and a husband and everything else, it's
pretty busy.
There's not a lot of extra time.
I don't have very many complaints.
You work
pretty
I'm not
well
complaining. I love it. I absolutely love it. If I didn't love it, I wouldn't do it. But it is a very, very cool thing. And I think a lot of us are going to make it, whether we're millionaires or not. We're going to be satisfied internally with what we produce and put out. Thank you, Lava. There's a lot that we want to be able to cover. And we weren't joking. We joked about it, but we weren't joking about taking this to another level with maybe conferences and things like that. That's something that we want to do. If we have the ability to schedule it in for both of us, we would be there. We almost went, what was it, last year? The year before, we almost went to one. We were looking into that one that Nate was going to.
Yeah. Actually, if things, well, if
that was the NFT one.
if we have a bull market, I can guarantee we will, because then crypto will go up and then we'll have enough money to do that.
Yeah. I definitely want to take that to another level. And I do want us, I want us to get back on the AI side too. We had some fantastic casts earlier this year that touched on AI, and we got a fantastic response
Well,
from the people who watched.
I did touch on that today, which is the legal side of AI, and AI is still in the legal gray area. So I don't know if anybody remembers, but a number of years ago, some people were on vacation with their camera taking pictures of each other, and then a monkey stole their camera and took pictures of itself. And they eventually got
Get out of here.
They eventually got their camera back, and then they found pictures that the monkey took. So then what they decided to do is, I think, feature it on websites or sell it to news agencies and stuff like that. I forgot how it happened, but there became a copyright issue with the monkey's picture of itself. Basically, that picture was not taken by a human, and humans are protected by copyright. Monkeys are not. And so that that picture did not have a copyright on it, nor could a copyright be asserted. That's the same problem with AI right now, because AI is creating a picture or creating a song or creating a story for you, and it is not protected by copyright, which I feel kind of weird that people are considering AI as to be some sort of protected, non-protected entity. I mean, the very fact that you have any sort of input into what it does at all means that you have some stake in the matter. For some reason, courts are not recognizing that an AI picture or story from a prompt is enough of human affecting the output to have it protected by copyright. I've certainly, like I showed earlier, tried to make my zip bugs always come from a picture that I created. Now, I also did create some bugs just with training data, where I had it train on 60 of my bugs and see what kind of bugs it would come up with. Generally, I tend not to be as happy with those, but I do use that training data. I do use that training data to enhance pictures of my older bugs. So you can say that I created the original drawing, and then I trained up some data on original drawings that I made, and then I had it, rehash that and remix it and stuff. Who owns that copyright? Well, it could be me, it could be the machine, or it could be both. And the question is, and that's not been tried in court right now. The only thing that's been tried in court right now is somebody generating an AI picture from a prompt, and then the patent office saying, or the copyright office saying, sorry, this is not copyrightable. Now, what's kind of interesting is when you take a picture of something, you didn't create that scene. All you did is you arrived in a spot and you snapped a picture. If you went to Yellowstone Park in Wyoming, the United States, took a picture of that nice, wonderful waterfall they have, you didn't create that waterfall. You didn't create anything around it. You just arrived at a spot, pointed your camera, and snapped a picture. That is less work, so to speak, than typing out a prompt, in my opinion.
So photographers, it makes sense for photographers to get a release, but you don't need one. If you have a subject and they allow you to take the picture and they don't try and inhibit that, you own the copyright to that picture with them in it. And especially if it's in a public place. And I did photography for a number of years when I was living in California, and I had to understand how all that worked. It has to be in a public place, and the person has to at least appear in the picture that they're agreeing to have their picture taken, and you can claim copyright on that. And I don't know if the law has changed. That was early 2000s, but back then that's what the law was. So it was very easy for photographers to kind of do whatever it was they wanted to do. I have hundreds, if not thousands, of black and white photos of all kinds of things. And that was a very liberal, loose law.
You could take a picture of anything. You can take a picture of the World Trade Center falling to its death, and you would have copyright over that photo. You could be standing right next to a news photographer who's taking a picture right next to you, and your photo has your copyright and their photo has their copyright. Now, when you're using AI art, for example, if you just gave it a prompt and no training data whatsoever, you're doing something very similar. You're taking a photo that's being created, but nobody else is going to be able to make that exact same picture with what they're doing. Now, the patent office or copyright office says that it's equivalent to pulling the arm on a casino machine, on a slot machine. But again, when you're taking pictures of events that happen really quick, you're doing the same thing. You're pulling the arm on a slot machine. Anyway,
Boy,
what?
I've got a surprise for you.
Okay. So I think AI pictures will eventually become treated a lot like photography, in that you can't choose. They've even said you can't exactly choose what you're going to get with AI generated images. You can choose close, but there's always some difference. With photography, it's a lot like the same way. You can't choose what's there. Something could just pop in the picture and you never expected.
All right. I
Yeah.
did this for you, Mr. Faz.
Just now.
Yeah. Are you ready for this? Are you ready for this? Da na 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 na.
Whoa. Oh, what happened there? Something went wrong.
No, it's only a 5-second clip.
I cut off that last second. It looks pretty good though. You can have it reverse, and that's neat.
It's a brand new AI. How do I do that? Whoops, I gotta hover and then close. It's a brand new AI tool, and if I share it with you, I guarantee you will drain your checking account with this tool. Because you can animate anything.
Well, I guess it's called Luma, right?
It is.
Yeah, because it's in the upper right-hand corner.
Oh,
by
was
the way, by the way, that is a derivative work. If you tried to sell that, I could try to assert copyright, but then of course that would get tied up because even my creation, its copyright is in doubt. I did create the original picture that's based on. A court would probably have to get involved and say how much copyright I can assert from that. But if I had handmade that with my bare hands with paper folding it, I could assert copyright and I could make you pay. So it's I find that to be a bit interesting how that works.
So I found them on Twitter. This guy put he has early access and he dumped a ton of money into this thing. All the memes that you see on a regular basis, like the little wicked girl as the house is on fire behind her. The guy with his girlfriend who's looking at the ass of the girl walking by, those static pictures, he made them into 25-second animations. And Luma made a complete animation of the whole thing. And I was like, holy shit. I'm like, I got to go look at this. And so I went over there. And so I started putting Zip Bugs in there to see because you can train it with an AI prompt too. And I put a Zip Bug arriving to Earth. And I was hoping it would come in on an asteroid or something cool. But with the preview, it doesn't give you much. Obviously, you just saw what I created live. But you can do amazing things with this, apparently. So AI is getting to a point now where every month or two, you're seeing like these huge, I mean, absolutely huge jumps in what they can do with it and what you can create with it. It's blowing me away. It really is. Because some of this stuff, and if you go to the Luma site, it has examples on there, and some of those it's really hard to tell that they're completely AI generated.
All right, so I have uploaded an image, and is this not done? Generation failed.
The one I just did for 5 seconds of video took about 4 minutes.
Well, I don't know if this is done yet or if it started. It just has this little thing through it.
It says, due to high demand, we're temporarily limiting free tiers to 10 generations a day.
So you got to
Yeah,
pay
I
for
couldn't
it.
even. Well, I couldn't even get it to do anything. It was telling me demand was off the charts last night, so it wouldn't even let me generate anything last night.
I'll see what I can do. That's interesting. I'll try it on some of my Zip Bugs. But yeah, that again, that's a copyright problem with that. If you make that video and you try to sell it, you know, how can I assert copyright? I would say that the more money I have, the more likely I would be to assert my copyright.
That's very Web 2 thinking, Faz. I think you need to give away, at least with some of your bugs, full license like Doug did for you and our theme song and everything else. I think at least one of your collections needs to be a pure do whatever you want with it and show me the results, and maybe you can win fantastic prizes.
How do you know that that's not part of my plan? And maybe I'll do that one day.
Because you're getting the idea from me.
I'll tell you the plan after the cast.
Of course he will. He'll take all my ideas and be like, here's what I thought of. He's real good for that. All
right. Well, we got to get going. Do appreciate you guys showing up. And I think I started a fight with Lava and Las Vegas Lance. I bet Lava will try to buy that off Las Vegas Lance. So if that's the case, then Las Vegas Lance would have more money to buy another Zip Bug.
I did pop up Lava's comment there about really liking the community building. I think those would be the best projects. I do, and there's a caveat with that. All of us who are collaborating, for the best way to put it, we all know each other very well. We all know that the people we associate with aren't dirty rug scammers, right? So a rando that pops up in your DMs one day that wants to collaborate with you may or may not be in your best interest.
Really?
The things that we talk about are with people that we've known for a long time, and I hate using the word we trust them, but we kind of do because we know who they are and what they're about and what their personalities are outside of a business arrangement, right? And that helps a ton. We know who these people are. We know that they're passionate, right? Like Lava's not doing this to try and get rich. Lava freaking loves music more than life itself, I think. And if you watch some of his videos, you'll see how much that is. Zorro, immersed completely in this, absolutely loves it. I've seen dozens of pictures of him at conferences and going to support other people. He doesn't do it because they're paying him to be there. He does it because he freaking loves it. Faz makes Zip Bugs not to be a millionaire, but because he loves the Zip Bugs he's been making for 30 years, and he wants to be an artist. That's one thing he loves to do.
Kind of like to sell their art too. You know, I'd love to make a living. My goal is to make a living doing it.
I understand, but that's not why you do it. You didn't develop Zip Bugs as a revenue stream. You developed Zip Bugs because you love art. And so you can see that
I'd like it to be a revenue stream.
The love that goes into that. So the people that we associate, Tim, right? Timbo, that dude loves playing games more than anything in the world. And he created the Moth to play games, to make a business, a career out of playing games. And he's taken it seriously. He doesn't screw around. I mean, he's 100% focused. And Nate loves the node networks. He's passionate about those, and he's involved in all of those. And finally, he's creating his own, and he hosts them because he loves running them and the technology that's behind them. Those are the kind of people that you want to be with, who are emotionally and personally invested in what they do.
All right. On that note,